U.S. military campaign against Iran has been relentless since the first strikes were launched, but Washington is now escalating further by deploying a third aircraft carrier to the region. The USS George H.W. Bush entered the Mediterranean Sea on March 8th, according to the Jerusalem Post, and is now making its way toward the two carriers already positioned near Iran. The USS Abraham Lincoln and the USS Gerald R. Ford. This triple carrier deployment represents one of the most concentrated displays of American naval power in recent history, and it may well strip away the final card Iran has left to play. Each of the three carriers currently in play has a distinct function. The USS Gerald R. Ford has transited the Suez Canal and is now sitting in the Red Sea, ready to respond if the Houthis in Yemen attempt to enter the conflict on Iran's behalf. The USS Abraham Lincoln, meanwhile, has been the workhorse of the air campaign, continuously launching bombers and fighter jets into Iranian airspace to chip away at what remains of the country's military infrastructure. The USS George H.W. Bush, now closing in from the Mediterranean, will add a third dimension to this already overwhelming operation. The Bush is a Nimitz-class supercarrier, placing it in the same category as the Abraham Lincoln. It has been in service with the U.S. Navy since May 2009, carries a crew of roughly 3,250, including 160 officers, and is equipped with sophisticated Lockheed Martin electronic and surveillance systems. Its weapons suite includes Raytheon missile launchers capable of firing NATO Sea Sparrow and evolved Sea Sparrow missiles, 2 Mark 49 guided missile launch systems, and 4 Phalanx close-in weapon systems that can unleash 4,500 rounds per minute in 20-second bursts. Formidable on its own, the carrier becomes exponentially more dangerous when you factor in its aircraft complement. Unlike the Abraham Lincoln, which carries F-35 stealth fighters to neutralize remaining pockets of Iranian air defenses, the George H.W. Bush is home to fourth-generation F-18S, EA-6B Prowlers, and E-2C Hawkeyes. In the early days of the campaign, sending non-stealth aircraft into Iranian airspace would have carried significant risk. That is no longer the case. Former U.S. Central Command Chief David Petraeus has stated that America now has air supremacy over Iran, meaning its aircraft can operate largely at will. What isolated air defense systems remain are mostly cut off from command and control networks, making them far less effective. With F-35s handling whatever pockets of resistance still exist, the Bush's fourth-generation jets are free to deliver high-volume strike missions without serious opposition. The carrier's aircraft can be launched at a rate of 1 every 20 seconds, meaning its full complement of up to 56 fixed-wing aircraft and 15 helicopters could be airborne within minutes. Before deploying, the carrier and its strike group completed a rigorous 28-day composite unit training exercise, during which its aircraft flew 1,586 sorties and made over 1,300 arrested landings in both day and night conditions. Its commanding officer, Captain Robert Bibot, confirmed the group is prepared for whatever the mission demands, whether that involves air superiority, strike operations, electronic warfare, or sustained presence. Perhaps the most strategically significant role for the incoming carrier group involves the Strait of Hormuz, which currently represents Iran's last meaningful piece of leverage. Although the country has lost the bulk of its naval fleet, President Trump claimed the U.S. sank 42 Iranian vessels in just 3 days during Operation Epic Fury. Iran has continued to deploy fast attack boats and drones into this critically important waterway. The Strait of Hormuz is only about 31 miles wide at its narrowest points, making it a natural choke point for global energy trade. Approximately 20% of the world's seaborne oil and gas passes through it, and in 2025 alone that translated into roughly 20 million barrels per day and close to $600 billion worth of energy trade annually. Iran has explicitly threatened to set fire to any vessel attempting to transit the strait while the war continues, and even with its navy largely destroyed, its fast boats and drone swarms remain capable of causing serious problems in such a confined space. The arrival of the USS George H.W. Bush changes that calculus significantly. With 2 carriers focused on striking targets inside Iran, the third can dedicate its resources to escorting commercial vessels through the strait and neutralizing the fast boat and drone threat. Analyst Max Afterburner has explained it simply. Iran's fast boats do not survive contact with a carrier strike group. When they close in and release their drones, they become easy targets. Having a dedicated carrier group focused on keeping the strait open gives the US a way to relieve the economic pressure that Iran has been generating through its disruption of shipping lanes. This matters politically as well. Oil prices reportedly climbed to between $100 and $120 per barrel by early March, contributing to stock market turbulence. If the US can reopen the Strait of Hormuz and stabilize energy flows, it removes a significant source of domestic and international criticism over the economic fallout of the war. It's a calculated move that allows Washington to continue its military campaign while demonstrating that it can manage the broader consequences. The campaign so far has been deeply damaging to Iran. IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir stated on March 6th that the combined US and Israeli strikes had eliminated approximately 80% of Iran's air defenses and destroyed around 60% of its missile launchers. The figures from Admiral Brad Cooper, who oversees US forces in the Middle East, reinforce just how effectively Iran's offensive capabilities have been degraded. By March 5th, Iran's drone launches had fallen by 83% compared to the first day of the war. Ballistic missile launches had declined by 90%. The systematic destruction of Iran's command and control infrastructure has compounded the problem by making it increasingly difficult for Iranian forces to coordinate whatever capacity they have left. More than 3,000 targets have reportedly been struck so far, and the arrival of the third carrier suggests that number is set to grow significantly. Afterburner has predicted that the strike count could double or triple within a week. This is partly because the Bush brings additional firepower, but also because 3 carriers allow the US to do something 2 carriers cannot: rotate. With 3 carrier groups in play, one can always be cycling through maintenance and crew rest while 2 remain fully operational. Pilots avoid burnout, aircraft receive proper servicing, and the relentless pace of strikes can be sustained over the weeks ahead. Trump has suggested the campaign could last 4 to 5 weeks, possibly longer, and this rotation model is what makes that sustainable.